You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account. From Apple to VIX and everything in between, if it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report. If you're listening to this show, chances are you're pretty serious about options trading. So let me put something on your radar. Public. It's the most cost-effective way to trade options. That's because Public is the only platform that gives you rebates on your options trades. They also have some of the industry's lowest index options fees. Whether you're placing single leg or complex multi-leg trades, every dollar counts. Check out public.com/optionsbrief and discover the most cost-effective way to trade options. Paid for by Public Investing. Full disclosures in podcast description. And now, get ready to scan the tape for the most explosive options activity on the street. It's time for the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody, that music means we are back to wrap up our trading day here with a little bit of the Hot Options Report for Tuesday, October 7th. Hope you're having a good trading day and a good trading week. My name, of course, Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com. Reminding you, wherever you're listening to this, make sure you're subscribed to the full network. That should get you all of the on-demand stuff we have coming at you. And, of course, if you want to go above and beyond, you want to join us, you just missed a really awesome pro Q&A kind of secret demo session with our friends over there at Bantix talking about their latest analytics platform for options and unusual activity and scanning, all the stuff our listeners like to do. In fact, just did it live, and also going to put the video version up for our folks to see. So lots of fun. If you're in there now, you get access to it for free in terms of the platform before it goes into the actual official paid mode over there at Quick Options. So good stuff. Check it out now. In the alpha, it is still free. So a good thing to go. theoptionsinsider.com/pro if you want to see all that. Participate in options oddities, all of our unusual, weird, wild trades. You want to get a double dose of boot camp coming in your life live tomorrow, as well as exclusives, early access, giveaways, all sorts of fun. theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go as we go around the horn and see what's lighting up the tape in the options market today. Let's kick things off in VIX land. If you were waiting for a day out there where we got a little bit of red on the screen and a little bit of green on the vol screen, then perhaps today was your huckleberry. Maybe not as much as you expected of either, but you got some. VIX closing today, popping nearly a full point, closing right around 17.25 today. Again, putting up almost exactly its ADV's worth of volume, which is kind of interesting. 732 on the tape for VIX today against an ADV of 733. So kind of interesting how that worked out. The hot option out there today, 32,000 of these 16 half puts. Average price for these right around 40 cents. So 16 half puts, 40 cents. Going out in a couple of weeks. You like these, listeners? If you do, they're hanging out there for you as we keep on rolling to SPY. SPY putting up just a tick under 10 million contracts worth of paper. 9.99 million. Really, we couldn't get to 10. 9.99 million contracts. That's against an ADV of about 8.4. So a hot day. A spicy day in SPY. SPY closing today, giving up a little over 1/3%. 669.12 is where it went out. And the hot option out there today, about 559,000 of the 668 puts. Average price for these about 52 cents. So you know the deal. If you bought these for that average price and you rode them through the close, not a great end of the day for you. But hey, that's what zero DTE is all about. You live to fight another day as we keep on rolling. Out to the S. Was the S hot today? Also pretty active. About 4.7 million contracts going up against an ADV of around 4.25. So pretty active out there. The S closing off about 1/3%, a little more than that as well. The hot option out there the par puts, 162,000 of these 6,700 puts. We went out in the cash, 67, 14, 59. So a wee bit above that strike. Average price for those puts, $3.28. As we keep on rolling to the small caps. Was it a hot day in small caps? The answer was yes, but to the downside. Selling off about 1.1%, closing 244.16 in IWM. Was it a hot day out there? The answer was actually kind of light. 1.4 million contracts going up against an ADV of 1.6 million. So a little bit below expectations. The hot options out there today, 82,000 of not October, going all the way out to November this time. November 235 puts. Average price for these, $3.65. So up to you. Whether you like that or you're saying sold to you, looks like they might have been biased towards selling on these. So it could be a little bit of downside premium harvesting here. There is some OI on this strike, so worth noting they could be closing on these as well. As we keep on rolling out to the Qs, the Qs closing off a little over 0.5% today. 604.51 is where it went out, putting up over 5 million contracts, 5.07 million to be precise. That's about 800,000 more contracts than the ADV of 4.27 million. And the hot option out there today, 223,000 of these 605 calls. Average price for these about 68 cents. So you know the drill. If you rode these through the close, not exactly looking great for you as we keep on rolling out to the top 10s. Was it a banger day out there? Was it a wild day out there? Well, let's find out, listeners, shall we? And we had some comments in our live show earlier today that we might have all new names, or at the very least, I think the prediction was no Apple in the top 10 today. That would be an interesting day if Apple didn't make the top 10. Let's see what's breaking in there today. And it cost you, listeners, 608,000 contracts to break into the top 10 today, listeners. So a decently active day, all things considered. Certainly not a record, not the busiest day we've ever seen, but also not 400 or 500,000 as well. That gets you to our old pal PayPal, listeners. I haven't talked about PayPal in a while. PayPal closing $74.61, popping nearly 5%, about 4.7% today, about 3 1/3 to the upside. So a good day out here for PayPal, listeners. What was the hot option on a hot day in PayPal? It was about 27,000 of the 75 calls expiring. You know it. You love it. This Friday, listeners. Average price for these about $1.27. So you know the deal. 76.27 by the close on Friday, or at least within spitting distance to get these off for a decent level. Can we get there, listeners? You know what? We got to 75.68 today, so over $1 above that today. So those might look a little bit better at that price level. But either way, upside lighting it up in PayPal, keeping it in P names for our top 10 today, listeners. Number 9, this is Poet. This is a newcomer. We have never discussed Poet before. This is Poet Technologies, ticker symbol Poet, P-O-E-T, listeners. Popping $1.50 today, closing at $7.88. That's about 23.5%. So this one was on fire today, listeners. They got as high as $8.13 out there today. So quite the run for Poet. 610,000 contracts on the tape. I haven't even looked. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably some upside calls that were lighting up the tape today. The question is, what strike? And it looks like it was the 10 calls expiring not this week, not expiring next week or even on the monthlies. No, it was the Halloween, October 31st, 10 calls going up 68,000 times for an average price of just shy of 50 cents, 49 cents. So 49 cents, 10 calls. You got till Halloween, listeners. Is that too spooky for you? Poet was looking wild today, so maybe you like rolling the bones on some wild upside. But my goodness out here. Poet, welcome to the top 10, listeners. As we keep on rolling, you know, this show, ever since launch, has had a lot of fun newcomers breaking in there. Open has been wild out there. Oracle kind of came and went. We'll see if they're back there today, but a lot of invasions of the top 10. Let's keep that theme going as we keep rolling to number 8. It's our old pal, the Monster, a.k.a. MicroStrategy, a.k.a. Strategy. Closing today, $328.40. My goodness, they took this to the woodshed today, off nearly 31 handles, or about 8.5%. So not a great day for good old Strategy. 640,000 contracts on the tape for them. The hot option for them also very interesting, bucking the trend out here today. Listen, a lot of not just expiring this week, paper, but monthly, November, and now December coming on the radar. 21,000 of the D's 3/2, D's 350s. Average price for these, $35.28. Wow, that's a lot to shell out. But then again, MicroStrategy was just up at that level. These were in the money just earlier today. So that probably explains some of that juice, listeners. So you like that? 35, about 35 and a quarter for the D's 350s. Can we get back up there again? Man, wild stuff here in good old MSTR as we keep on rolling to our old friend Intel, coming in at number 7, closing today, $37.17. Rallying about 1 3/4% or about 62 cents out there today. Got up to about $38, $38.05 to be precise. The hot option out there, once again, going to the upside. It's these 40s. People have been persistent on these 40s for a while. This time it's the monthlies again, not in the weeklies, but the monthlies. The OC 40s going up 29,000 times. Average price for these, 91 cents. You got a few weeks, listeners. Do you like these? 91 cents for the OC 40s. Obviously, you have to threaten the 41 level to pretty much make these pay off. Think we can get there in Intel? We'll keep an eye on it as we keep on rolling to number 6. It's our old friend Palantir. 182.17 is where it went out, up about 2 2/3 or about 1.5% today. So a little bit of a rally back for Palantir. Putting up 665,000 contracts, again, for the number 6 spot. The hot option out there today, going back to the weeklies, 50,000 of the 185 calls expiring this Friday. Average price for these, $3.64. So you know the deal. Got to run a little bit if you're buying these before the end of the week. Think Palantir can get back up there, or is it going to hang out? They had some security concerns earlier this week, which seemed to weigh on the stock. Getting a little bit of that back today as we keep on rolling up to number 5. It's our old pal Open. We can have a whole show. Just where did Open close today? The answer today is $9.29. Ended up the day, listeners, up a penny. That's wild. It had over $1 range, though. The low of $8.41, the high of $9.47, closing $9.29. So almost literally unched on the day. How often do we see that in Open, listeners? Putting up 710,000 contracts out there. The hot option out there in Open land today, 64, almost 65,000 of the 10 calls. Average price for these, 23 cents. And again, when we were hanging out right around $9.50, these are looking a little bit better. Maybe you like them a little bit less now. Either way, that's the hot strike yet again in Open as we keep on rolling out to number 4. It's our old pal SoFi, $28.14. They've been kind of roaring back to life this week, up about $1.75 or nearly 7%, about 6.75% today. So a good day for them, putting up 818,000 contracts. And once again, we're bucking the trend of weekly paper. The hot option in SoFi today, 45,000 of the Nove 30s. Average price for these, $2.26. So can we get there? 32.26 by Nove expiration, listeners. At least close enough to make these relevant. So either way, SoFi, number 4, listeners, as we keep on rolling to number 3, falling all the way to number 3 after it was the top dog yesterday. It's AMD. 211.51 is where the stock went out. Rallying back to life today, up nearly $8 or 3.83%. We did see a big rally yesterday, then a sell-off towards the end of the session, right down back to the par strike. It was the par puts that were lighting it up out there yesterday. Is that still the case today? The answer is yes. AMD putting up 1.31 million contracts on the hot option, 55,000 of the par puts, the 200 puts. Average price for these, $1.58. You might say, well, maybe people were closing. No, this was opening paper, listeners. So more opening paper on the par puts. Is AMD going to fall out of bed again by the end of the week? Or would you be saying sold to you on these, listeners? Interesting stuff as we keep on rolling to number 2. Yes, NVIDIA falling to number 2 today, closing today 185.04, off of $0.50 exactly, or about 0.25%, putting up a little bit shy of 2 million contracts today. So a light volume day for NVIDIA. The hot option out there, 166,000 of the 190 calls. Average price for these, about $1.64 out there. So rest of the week, can we get back to that 190 strike, listeners? Got to get out of gear if you want to get there. As we keep on rolling, what topped the charts in the options market today, listeners? Well, you haven't heard its name yet, and it wasn't Apple. Our pro members were right about that. No Apple out there today. It was Tesla. $433.09 is where Tesla went out, giving up another 4.5% or $20 almost exactly today. Tesla's been on a wild ride of late. It's up 20 odd handles. It's down 20 odd handles. Just absolutely wild stuff. Today putting up 2.31 million contracts. The hot option out there, about 119,000 of, once again, this strike remains popular. The 450s, the 4 halves out there, listeners. Average price for these, $8.71. This is more opening paper, so it's not closing on this strike. So $8.71 for the 4 halves. Would you be a buyer of those? In which case, Tesla needs to get in gear for the second half of the week. Or are you saying sold to you? In which case, maybe you're going to sweat a bit, but you could potentially pocket $8.71 worth of premium out there. Either way, listeners, that's going to do it for us on the Hot Options Report today. Back again tomorrow. If you're hanging out in the pro, theoptionsinsider.com/pro, you will hear not one, but 2 live episodes of Options Bootcamp, everyone's favorite educational program. You'll also get the futures rundown coming at you live in your ear holes before we wrap up the day yet again tomorrow after the closing bell. Another episode of the Hot Options Report. Stay safe out there, everybody.
Check out public.com/optionsbrief and discover the most cost-effective way to trade options. Paid for by Public Investing. Full disclosures in podcast description.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.